Is the world heading into recession? Let's discuss. Good day, everyone. Welcome to the video of the day. Canada is already in a recession. The US says that there is still a real chance of one of them. Germany, France, and Italy are hovering right on the edge. So, is the world actually heading into recession in 26, or is this just a fear mongering? Let's go country by country and look at the real numbers. So, a recession technically means two straight quarters where a country's economy shrinks instead of grow. It sounds simple, but right now different countries are at completely different stage of this. With already some into it and some are filtering with it, some avoiding it entirely. Let's break it down. The one already in the recession is Canada. So Canada actually entered the technical recession in the first quarter of this year. Growth is expected to stay weak through the rest of year, held up by a bit of government spending, but dragged down by a soft job market, slower population growth, trade tensions, and high energy price. The Canadian story is a warning signs for every other countries. Even without a dramatic financial crash, a slow mix of weak hiring and trade uncertainty is enough to tip an economy into contraction. Now, the second part is the one on the edge. That's the US. The US hasn't fallen into recession, and the forecast actually improved recently. Economists now put the odds of a US recession in the next 12 months at around 30%, down from 40% a bit earlier, with expected growth of about 2.2% for 2026, helped by rate cuts and fiscal support. But that 30% isn't nothing. It means that US is walking a tightrope, not clear of the risk. And a big reason that risk exit at all is the next section. The section is the wild card, war in the Middle East. In late Feb 26, a US and Israeli strike against Iran escalated tensions in the Middle East, and this became the single biggest swing factor in the entire global economy outlook of this year. The IMF's April 26 outlook, actually titled Global Economy in the Shadow of War, projected the global growth slowing to around 3.1% for the year, assuming the conflict stayed limited. But under a worst scenario, if the conflict drags on and disputes energy shipping routes like the Strait of Hormuz, forecast warned growth could slow much further, and oil price could push towards $100 a barrel, and several major economies could tip into outright recession. This is the pattern to notice. One geopolitical shock can quietly rewrite the growth forecast for the entire planet. Now, very interesting that Europe's balancing act. So several of Europe's biggest economies like Germany, France, and Italy are forecast to grow under 1% of the year. That's slow enough that even a small negative surprise could tip any of them into two straight quarters of contraction, meeting the technical definition of recession. The Eurozone as a whole has actually avoided recession so far, helped by a strong labor market and easing inflation. But growth is being described as moderate at best, and trade tensions plus geopolitical uncertainty remain real risks hanging over the region for the rest of this year. Now, what is the bigger picture? Let's zoom out right now in 26. Canada, already in a technical recession. US, recession risk easing but still at 30% real chances. Europe, they're avoiding, but growth is thin enough that it wouldn't take much to tip over. And the global wildcard, the Middle East conflict, where it's the single biggest factor that could push multiple economies over the edge at once. So no, the world isn't a full global recession right now, but it's not in the clear either. It's sitting closer to the edge than it's in the wild. So to conclude, the takeaway is that recession isn't a light switch that either on or off. Globally, I would say it's country by country, and this year is a perfect example how differently the same global pressures and the energy price, trade tensions, geopolitical risk can hit different economies. If this video helped and makes sense of where the global economy actually stands, hit the button or subscribe, and we will break down everything that goes on. Make sure you like the video, share with your friends, family, colleagues too. Welcome to Money Brief. Let's grow together.